Hello, and welcome to St. John's Public Schools. This is a quick overview of how to enroll your student in our district. So we're going to go over the documents that you're going to need to enroll, how to access the online enrollment, how to complete it, and what happens after you've completed. So there are some documents you're going to want to gather before you begin the enrollment process, and those are you're going to need your child's birth certificate, a current immunization record for your child. There's two separate pieces of proofs of residency, as it is required that you live within the St. John's Public Schools boundaries to enroll, and you're going to need a driver's license or a state ID for the parents or guardians, and then any health and medication information for individual students, if applicable. So regarding proofs of residency, the district does require two, and you must have at least one of the following property-specific information. So a property tax statement that has the address, a lease agreement, a mortgage statement or a mortgage agreement, utility bill is very common, maybe a closing documents from the purchase. So there are other secondary proofs that you can include, and that's a driver's license, maybe a car insurance or homeowner's insurance information, cell phone bill that has an address, maybe you had a bill from like movers, but you have to have at least one from that left column. They both can be from the left column. That's very common. Regarding preschool, if you're enrolling in preschool, all preschool families must first apply for admission through the clintonpreschool.org website, and then someone from St. John's will reach out if there is a spot available for your family and ask you then to complete this online enrollment within the school district. So accessing our online enrollment is on our website. When you go to sjredwings.org, there is a click and enroll now button that will fly out on the left-hand side of the page. So you'll click that. It takes you to our enrollment page. We do encourage you to read that enrollment page before clicking on that register online button. The nice thing about our application process or enrollment process is that you complete one application for all of the children in your household. You can complete this anytime, anywhere that you have online access. So as I said, you only complete that one application for all of the children. You will initiate the application they will ask you for your name and your email address. And when you hit begin registration, an email will be sent to you. And so you'll need to check that email and find that begin application or go to application button at the bottom of the email. So to begin your application, it's going to work like it's a wizard. It's going to take you step by step. Remember to have all that necessary documents ready to upload. If you're using a phone or a tablet device, you'll be able to take pictures of those documents. And if you're using a computer, you're going to want to make sure you have those documents saved on your device so that you can then point to those to upload those documents at the appropriate time during the application. So the application looks like this on the right-hand side. You've got these different menus at the top, and then kind of go through each of those menus. So the first one you come to is the primary household. And so this is, basically the primary phone. So if you had like a landline phone in the house, that would be the primary phone. Otherwise, you need to choose a kind of a primary parent's cell phone number to put in here. You then have options for how to be contacted through voice calling and text messaging. And it will ask you for your home address. These pleats will open up as you hit save and continue. It'll ask for the home address. It will then ask for your residency verifications, where you'll upload those two different verification documents that I spoke of. Ask for a mailing address just in case your mailing address, like you have a P.O. box, is different than the actual household address. Some basic housing information, and then there's information about food service, and so that's under that. The parent guardian menu is where you are going to list all parents, those that live in the household and even those that don't. So those split households where you have parents and step-parents, you would list all of the parents and guardians here. And for each individual parent, you'll be able to list out the address at where they live. Because it may be they live in the primary household or they may not. For those emergency contacts, this would be for non-parent guardians. So if you've already listed them under the parent guardian, do not list them under the emergency contacts. But maybe a neighbor, your a grandparent, you would list those folks here, and you will later on under the student menu, you will identify the order in which you want people to be contacted in those emergency events. The other household members, this is where you would list other individuals that live in the primary household but are not of school age. So they're either too young, so you have a child that's 3 years old, maybe they're not enrolled in school yet, or you maybe have a child that has graduated. So they're not of our school age within the school district. And then the student menu is where you're going to add each child or each student that you want to enroll. So like we said that you only fill out one application for all of the students, and so you're going to list all of the children that you have under here. And so once you add a student, there's a lot of menus that will come up that are specific to that student, and the next screen is going to show you that. In order to submit your application, you are going to need to see a green check mark here under the completed before you can then submit your application. So when you go to add a new student, there are multiple pleats of information here. It may or may not look exactly as you see here, because as you select choices here, different answers, there are different menus that can pop up. There's one that's specific to preschool, one that's specific to kindergarten, and so on. So it's going to ask for demographic information. This is where you're going to have to upload your birth certificate. The student services menu is if your child has an individual education plan or a 504 plan. You would indicate that under there. If they attended another school prior to St. John's Public Schools, you would include that there. If, say, they're a middle school or high school student, if you have a current schedule or a transcript, we would ask that you upload that. It's not required, but ask that you upload that. That will help expedite so that we can create a schedule within the district. The relationships here, so the parents and guardians and the emergency contacts and other household members that you entered on the previous screens are going to pull through, and it's going to ask you how are those people related to the student that you are entering here. So if you list grandma or grandpa or other household members, then you got to tag them as a grandmother or grandparent, and then that's where you will also identify your priority order for those emergency contacts. Some of the other things are if the child has a health condition or they take medication that they're going to need to take at school. There's some information there that you're going to need to respond to. The transportation, if they're going to need to ride the school bus at all, that is there. And then the release agreements related to student directory information, online tools, permissions, and code of conduct, so on and so forth. So you'll see that under the add the student. And once you've entered all that information for the student, then you would click save and continue, and you could add an additional students. Once you have added all your students, you should come to the completed section there. And this is the big red button that you're going to need to click submit, and that's when your application will be submitted to the district office. So then what happens after you submit your application? Well, we want your child to feel welcomed on at school on that very first day that they attend. And there's some things that we need to do as a school to prepare for your child's first day. So we do appreciate your patience and understanding that it's going to take a few days before your child can start school. We need to make sure that they have a desk in the classroom, that things are set up so that they can, get lunch. If they're a middle school or high school student, we need them to be able to have a class schedule established. So there might be a meeting that needs to take place with the school counselor to make sure that we're scheduling them in the right the courses for where they're at. And so the district office will review all of the information that you've uploaded and entered to make sure that everything is submitted correctly. And if it's approved, then that application will be sent to the building staff of where your child or your children are going to be enrolled. And a staff member from that building should reach out to you to get your child scheduled for starting school. If for some reason you don't have all of the information within the application, maybe you need to get a copy of an immunization record yet, your application may be placed on hold, and someone from our district office will reach out to you to receive that additional information that is required before we can further process that application. At any time, if you need assistance, you're welcome to contact us at 989-227-4004 or send us an email at enrollment@sjredwings.org. If you need any assistance, like if you don't have the technology at home to complete the online enrollment, you are always welcome to come into the district office, which is located around the backside of our high school on that southwest corner. It would be located in door number 26. So you're always welcome to come into the district office, and you can complete the application in our office. So I hope that helps guide you through the process. We look forward to enrolling your child in St. John's Public Schools.